Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to the Centurions Review. This is Holy War, Microgame number 13 from Metagaming. These originally cost $2.95. I just picked up another copy of this. I had this years back. I had played it, and I cannot remember if it was this game or it was Warp War, but one of them was one of the worst games I ever played, and I cannot remember if it was this one or Warp War. I had wrote a review, I didn't have my website back then or my review channel. I worked for an FLGS, and they had a little forum on their website, and one of the forums was for your very own game reviews, and I wrote a game review of Holy War and of Warp War. One of the two games I remember, I hated it so much, I put down the only thing good I could say about the game was that if you ran out of toilet paper, you could use the map. It's been so long, I can't remember if it was this game or it was Warp War, but anyhow, what I do remember about this game, though, is that the combat, there was certain situations where it felt like you could have just flipped a coin to determine whether you lost a ship or your opponent did, if I recall correctly or something. But anyhow, let's take a look at this and see if I can refresh my memory. Here's the counters. This is from like 1979 or so. Metagaming, as I mentioned in other videos, is known for lackluster counters, but this is actually some of their better counters. For 1979, these aren't that bad. These are actually fairly decent. They show the ships, and then they got some informational counters here and stuff too, so they're not that bad. It's pre-cut, sorta. It's cut lengthwise, but then you got to take a scissors out to cut the individual pieces out. So it's not as good as die cut, but it's okay. Let's take a look at the map. Doesn't seem too toilet paper-like, so I don't know if this was the game, but the map's a little unusual. It has hexes, but each hex has, 7 little hexes in it, and you put your ship on that, if I recall correctly, and that determines where you are on the z-axis. So this is a three-dimensional space it represents, so that shows how high up you are up in z, so you can think of that as like altitude or something. But I don't know if these are warp lanes or what these are. It's been so long since I've dealt with this game. And then on the bottom of the page, let me show you, it has a tiny little chart. Neutrals chart. Each player moves his end marker plus or minus depending on battles won or lost. The die is rolled to make neutral allies when your marker is on the plus side. So at least it's got one of the tables printed on the map. That's good. Alright, let's have a look at the book and see what's going on in here. Starts with some ads for some of their other micro games. Most of these are good too. Ogre, Chitin, Warp War, that's that one I'm not sure about. Rivets, Wizard, Olympica, MicroQuest 1 Death Test. I'm doing some play testing right now of Steve Jackson's re-release of Melee. I'll have a review for that later this week. Here it's starting with the rationale behind the game. And it's got a quote from E.E. Cummings. And here it's talking about your units. So it has a unit type, crew point activation cost, and then it has launch weapon rating, psychic weapon rating, and energy weapon rating. So that's kind of cool. And let's go over the game turn sequence. Activate units, and then the Sun Throwers move. Sun Throwers have combat, and then Holy Band moves, and then Holy Band has combat. And then there's the neutral judgment phase. And if I recall correctly, you roll at the beginning of the game, I think, to determine which side you are starting the game. Yeah, high roller chooses. Then it's going over movement. And activation of forces, combat, select weapons. Then it's talking about the combat differential here. And there's also boarding, which is interesting. And there's neutral systems. I think you can get them to try and join your side. And then it's got some notes about the ships. And here's the combat results table and the boarding table, and then the neutrals chart again. Anyhow, don't know if I'll ever get a chance to try this again. The only reason I'd like to try it is I'd like to try this in Warp War to figure out which was the one that I had hated so much back in the day and kind of forgot about. But anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click like on the video, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. And as always, have a good evening.